welcome to Quality Sewing and Vacuums virtual live for So Fun. Here we have Charlotte and Deanna here with us today, and they are so excited to share what they have made for you for the month of May. Can you believe it's the end of May already?
No.
Oh my goodness. So just in case you are new to our virtual So Fun, we have live shows here all around the Seattle area in our 10 stores and one over in Eastern Washington in Pasco. Everybody say hello to our Pasco friends.
Hello, Pasco.
Hello. We're so excited that you're joining us. If you would like to come and join us, please do so. Jump on to qualitysewingandvacuum.com to find our in-person QualitySewing.com. Sorry, I said it wrong. Thank you, Chris. To see where our live shows are. Aren't our live shows the best?
Yes, they are.
Oh my goodness. There's food, fun, friends, and my favorite part at the end is show and tell, when you guys get to come and bring in your own projects that you've made. So anyways, in case you're new, we are going to be giving away 2 prize drawings at the very end. This is going to be exciting. So leave a comment down below, or if you have any questions, please put those on there and we will answer them as soon as we can. All right. All of these products that are kind of new and exciting will be on our website until next Thursday, June 5th. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Charlotte and Deanna.
Hey,
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Did they get 20%? Did they get a discount on those?
Our So Fun members do.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm going to start with our quilt. So here's my quilt right here. I made it with the Go Bloom and Bright jelly roll. And what I did was I added 3 jelly rolls together and I sewed them, and then I made the squares to match each one. And it turned out really good. And then I just used the back. I used Minky on the back, which was a renewal fabric. I used it off of something else. And then I just stitched in the ditch together because I did not have I don't have a long arm, so I just stitched in the ditch to do that. And then I also used white fabric with flowers on it. But to see if you made it right, you need to use this ultraviolet ray to see if your whites are white. So if you look right here, how you can see the flowers right here? But if you look on this one right here, there's no flowers. That means I sewed this one backwards. So it's reversed. So this light will show you that if your fabric is reversed when you go to sew it or not. So it's very important if you're using white on white fabric to use one of these lights. And also if you have animals and you can smell it but you cannot see it, this will show you where the little stains are on your carpet so you can clean them. But this is an amazing little light that everybody should have that are using white on white, because literally I would have never known this was not backwards unless I would have used this light. So I'm going to pass it over to Charlotte. She's going to tell us about her quilt right here.
These quilts come in a book that we're going to talk about in a minute. It's called the Go Bold book. And this quilt is made to the exact size of the 3-yard quilt. So there are 8 different designs, quilt designs in this book, but you have 3 different sizes that you can make. So you could make the one that takes 3 yards, which is just kind of a lap quilt, and then you're going to be able to do one with twin and one with king and queen. And of course you'll have to add extra fabric to that if you're going to make the bigger quilt. Now, when I get onto a quilt and I look at it, I kind of study the pattern first. And if I can cut down on any of my sewing, I will do that. And when I was looking, this is the block. This is the block right here. And then this is the block right here. So it's just these are just different colors on each block, and they're just turned. But this one was going to use a half square triangle here. Well, we have a ruler that we bring in all the time, and most of you have it. It's called the folded clipper corner ruler. And I could make this without doing a half square triangle here and have one less seam. So the least amount of seams is the least amount of problems you can have. Every time you add something, this is where you start with this square. And every time you add, to that square, you want to hand me that? You're going to want to square up your, oh, so should I put this down here? I think so.
Here's the book right here. It's called the Gold Bold 3-yard quilt book. She is an amazing woman. She makes a whole bunch of different books, but this is an amazing book. And we did these two right here. She did the high rise, and then I did the modern art right here. And then the next one I'm going to make is this cute little heart one right here, because it's just adorable. So on this book, you can make all these, and it's gold bold with 3-yard quilts.
Good. Okay, so this is our sew tight. This is our sew tight movable. I can't even think what it is. Our
Magnetic.
magnetic turntable. I can't think of the name.
It's sew tiles.
Cutting mat. Okay, it's a rotating one. And you know, the advantage of having a rotating mat is that and this is magnetic. And so you're going to be able to see that this does not move underneath here. It does not. So when I'm squaring up my quilt blocks, I just have to turn the turntable. The turntable has ball bearings in it, so it moves really good. It is the best rotating mat that I have ever used. You'll always want to use a very, very sharp rotary cutter, because you don't want to continue to, our mats are self-healing, but you can, when your blades are dull and you're pressing too much, you're making too much pressure on it, you can damage your cutting mat, and you don't want to do that. Now, these come with the boosters on them, and that means that I'm going to bring this up, tilt it up a little so that you can see that this is not going to fall off. So it's going to stay right there. That's how firm that is on that magnetic rotating mat. Now, you don't have to get the ruler that we love to have in it. This ruler has magnets on it. And so that's really good for this particular block. But if you want to cut minky on it, you might want to put this ruler down and then add the boosters, which are additional magnetic boosters here. And then you're going to see that this also does not move, and you're able to cut that. And one of the other things, you want to hand me that little square there. One of the things that we run into trouble with is when we have a block that has a lot of seams in them, and your ruler will be wobbly. So I'll just use a regular ruler here, and it kind of wobbles. And so you're going to want to use your magnetic ruler, put it down, and go ahead and use your boosters on there, and that's going to keep your block from rotating and to wobble. So you could cut around that really perfectly good. And it's just a great tool, and you could buy extra boosters for it, but you could also use your own ruler without having to have this magnetic ruler, and just use the boosters with it. There we go. And it's going to stay down there, down there, and down there. But this is the ruler that you'll want to have with it, because it is so super good. This ruler has the magnets in it, and then we put these little grippies on them, and there's Heart by Gypsy Quilter. And they really, really grip your ruler really well. And you get 20, I think, on here. And there's an inside and an outside. So if you have some small rulers, you could just pop out the inside and use those on your strip rulers, or you can use a complete heart. So, you want to talk about, what would you talk about? What are we going to do next?
Oh, okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the big welcome sign. So here, let me go get that for you. These were amazing to make. They were a lot of fun. And Charlotte's going to show us right now how she made hers first. I'll take this from her. There we go.
So on the welcome, I did it to, we always can, change up on doing things. And I did make it according to the pattern on the front. And what I did, the fabric is from our store here, which is grunge. The red and then the blue is grunge, then just sparkly stars. And we used a lot of steam-a-seam in the products that we have here today. And so on the back, now you can you could cut this with your ScanNCut, or you could cut it by hand. I have a ScanNCut and I love to use it. And what I did with using the Steam-A-Seam, I used a small applique blanket stitch in red around the letters here. Now, you can use a blanket stitch, regular blanket stitch, but sometimes that goes back and forth too many times. In the applique menu of my machine, if I go in there and use a blanket stitch, it is exactly just one over down and one over. And you have to use a really small stitch to go around those corners real easily, because if you have too big of a stitch, it will not go around the corners. I also use the small stitch around the stars. And I used in this, for the batting, I used Pellon's 987 Fusible. And it's a thin batting. You can lay things on the table with it. I put them on my placemats, on table runners, wall hangings, very easy to use. And so Deanna's going to tell you what she did with her. She had a little bit more fun.
Okay, so I made this one right here, and I made mine reversible. So I have Mickey Mouse on the back. He's so cute. He's my favorite. And I made mine out of the Reform Plus, which you can make purses out of too, but I made my quilt out of it too to give it the little puffy look. And I used the Seam 2 for my letters so they would stay on. I did not want to do the applique around mine. I thought it would take away from the sparkly letters because I did by blue, but I liked it the way it came out this way. And then I added the little riffraff and some little stars on the top to give it some different look. But yeah, and it's completely reversible. So I can reverse it when I just turn it around, and it's reversible. You can also use these stars. They do have a little thing in here, so you just, when you make her, like she made hers, you just slide them in right here, and it slides in so you can take it off. So you can actually use these for Christmas too. So if you don't want to use it for just the 4th of July or Memorial Day, you can use it for Christmas too, or Veterans Day. You can use them for Christmas. We all love Christmas.
This is by Patchabilities, and it's a very, very simple applique pattern. It's extremely simple.
It was really simple. Literally, this was one piece. You just kind of fold it over and sew it together. Same as this one down here. It was one big piece. You just kind of sew it over and add it. And
so you put this much on and then you folded it over,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. Yep.
Okay, cool.
And it turned out really cute. Get rid of the welcome sign. Okay. Next we have daily inspirations. Okay.
And this is our embroidery. This is a wonderful embroidery by Janine Babbage. You want to tell them about your cute little pillow here that you did with yours?
I made the pillow, and my pillow matches my quilt. I used the jelly roll around the corners of the pillow to match my quilt. See, it matches that one right there. And it says, wherever you go, take your own sunshine. So so when you use this, you don't always have to do the flags. You can use this on anything. So you can put it on pillows, aprons, blankets, whatever you want. You put it in your quilt. And also, it was really easy to download. Literally, I just downloaded it onto my thumb drive. I have a 6 needle. I put it right onto in my thumb drive in my 6 needle. It popped up. And it makes different sizes because this one's a little bit smaller than the ones that she made. So here Charlotte's going to tell you about hers right here.
Okay, so these are the 3 panels that come on with the pattern here. The instructions are really great. These embroidery designs can either be made in 1 hooping or they can be made in 2 hoopings. Now, the cool thing about this is that if you don't have a huge hoop to do this, you can use your sticky back stabilizer and hoop that in your hoop. Cut the paper off, and then she'll have registration lines on her design where you're going to put your fabric, and then you can start embroidering. I like to, when I do an embroidery, I like to use a basting stitch all the way around my design so that it stays right where I want it to. On one of my machines, it'll ask me, do you want to put a basting design around the design, or do you want to baste it around the hoop? I always choose around the design because what that enables me to do is I have a basting line on each side all the way around this embroidery, and then when I want to cut it to the size that I needed to make this little wall hanging, I will use that line as my reference line so I can make that square all the way around. And I use the 987 in that fusible. And I use ribbon in one. And if you want to send these away and you don't want to have a sleeve on the back, or you don't want to take one of our hangers, I don't know, Chris, can you see that? I put these little brass rings on the back, and you can hang those on your wall with a little brass ring, and you don't need a hanger, and you don't need a sleeve on it. And I can mail them that way, and it doesn't cost that much to mail them because it's pretty thin. But anyway, I used rack and some ribbon on it, and on the ribbon, you can always use a twin needle when you stitch that down on both sides. And you want to talk about your hummingbird.
Okay, next we're going to talk about the hummingbird. These are amazing to make. They were so much fun. And they look really hard, but they are super easy. And it's called the Whims Watercolor Quilting Kit. Excuse me, I can't speak. And here, I got it. There we go. Can everybody see that? So all you have to do literally is you take your 2-inch grid. So it's a 2-inch water grid right here. And it looks like this. It has the grid on there. You take, these come in the package. And it comes light, medium, or dark. And then you just iron them on like this. And it doesn't matter if you iron them on Cricut or not, because because when you sew it, it's going to sew a perfect square. And I'm going to show you how I sewed one of them up for real quick. Okay, so all you have to do is do a 1/4-inch square. So all you have to do is find your 1/4 inch on your machine. And this is a Bernina, so all we have to do is hit the go button, and it's going to go. Yep. Except it got stuck under there. That's why we have scissors for. We will just cut that right off. And cut that right off. Get back down. And hit the go button again. And the needle came unthreaded. This isn't working the way I thought it was going to work because I had it all perfect when I started. But if you know anything about Berninas, they're really easy to thread. Simple as that. Put the foot back down. So we'll just start a little before our seam, so it will catch the seam, so we don't have to backstitch. A little bit, and there we go. So it makes a perfect square. So if your squares are uneven, when you go to sew, it makes a perfect square every time. You can use this grid for this project, but you can also use it for purses or quilts to make perfect squares on your quilts. But to make this project, you would take this right here. This is going to show you how to do this outline. So if you look at mine up here, it comes with 2 of the exact same ones. So I did like this one and this one are this one and this one are the exact same. This one and this one all the way across. And then the middle row, these ones are the same all the way. So it kind of makes it even, so you can see like it's what do you want to call it?
Uniform.
Uniform, yeah. And then it does show you shows you these first ones are dark, these are medium dark, light, and then these ones all in here are light. And it's in the package, they're organized that way too. So they're really easy to use. It does come with all the fabric to make the birds and the flowers, and it even has the it comes with 3 little sparklies for, it shows them the pattern to use it on the flowers, but I put them in the eyeballs because I thought they looked better in the eyeballs. But it comes with those. And then if you have a ScanNCut, you would just put it on the Steam 2, which I don't know. You want to hand it to me? It's over on it wasn't with the stuff. It was over on the other side. The Steam 2, you would use it because you want to put the birds on one, and you want to put your fabric on one side, and then you iron on the second. So if you have a ScanNCut, which I don't, but if you do, it's really easy to do on the ScanNCut. You just scan it in, and then it cuts it for you. I literally just did mine while I was watching TV at home. You just cut out your birds on your Steam, and then you just iron them on, and then it will show you in the package where to put your birds and how to put your birds on there. So it's very easy to where you're going to do your placement, because it shows you exactly where to place it. And I did forget to tell you that when we do sew it, you sew it completely one way this way. So I did 13 rows this way, and then I iron them down, and then you go 11 seams this way. So you don't ever have to do anything else. It's just one seam. It's straight stitching one way, straight stitching the other way. When I did my quilting on here, I did do a little leaves, so it looked like vines coming down. And I have warm and natural in the middle of mine, so it looks like it was quilted. And then I just used some fabric from Quality Sewing for the border and then the back. And I did use variegated thread to give it a different look. If you look at the leaves going down, they're different colors, because no leaf has the same color, I know. So yeah, that's how I made mine. Now Charlotte can come over and talk about
Okay,
hers.
Chris, I'm going to do this. This is the back side, what she was just telling you about, when it's all sewn. So you can see that all these rows go down, and they're all pressed one way. And then when you do the other rows, they're all pressed one way. So that's how the back is going to look when you have it done. And that's your little thing. So let me go over here, Chris, to my thing. Deanna told you that they only had 3 crystals in there. Well, I like lots of crystals, so I went and bought a bunch of rhinestones. And on all these, there were supposed to be little circles here, which Deanna did. She cut hers out, with the fabric here, but I glued on some rhinestones here. And then I took a triple stitch and I stitched down all of the vines and the leaves. And then if you see this right up here, this is cording that I couched. And so I didn't cut it with a small piece of fabric here. I just had some cording and I couched that over that. And then I did all the stitching all around the flowers, and also did the couching with some things down here. And then I just put a lot of crystals all over it, and they were just inexpensive ones that I glued on. And I did sew down every one of my appliques. So this is a small applique stitch all the way around the hummingbirds, and all around the leaves, all around the flowers here. And I have Pellon's 987 fusible batting in that. And that's how it is. It's really fun, and it's busy, but if you do it like Deanna said, there's a little chart in the instructions, and it just shows you kind of where to place all of these. And you just always start in the corners, so you go the dark to the lightest. They did say that they had turned some of theirs over to make them lighter. I didn't turn any of mine over. Did you turn any of yours? No, because I thought they were light enough. But that's it, and it was really fun to do. It just really intrigued me to do that.
It was a lot of fun, and it was really easy to make. And when I went on the website and looked at them, there's a whole bunch of different patterns, but also people put them in wood frames.
Yeah, they do.
Because it's considered a wall hanging.
Wall art.
So it's a watercolored wall art hanging. So they have them in frames too. So a lot of people put them in frames, which made them look really nice.
Yeah. So that's it.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Yanaka jacket. And my jacket, unfortunately, I made mine with upholstery fabric, and don't ever iron upholstery fabric because it does burn. I burnt my jacket on the corner, so I did not bring it in the show. So Charlotte's going to go over her jacket right here.
This jacket was fun to make. Now this is this is a piece of fabric that we got from Amanda's Bundles here. And some of the ladies, when I was traveling, they said, "Oh, I have that fabric." And I said, "Well, now you can make the jacket." But it is a knit. But on the knit, it is also, it's got this real nice lining on it. And so it's a little heavier than just a interlock knit. And what I did here, because this is unlined, I used my serger on it. And on the back, I'm going to turn this around, Chris. On the back here, because it has this cute little detail in here, I had to do the center back seam open. It has to be sewn open and flat. And so I just used the serger on both sides of my seam and then press down my seam. Now for all of the interfacing in this and around the collar and down the front, I used 2 layers of fusible knit tricot interfacing. So it's all fused in there and it fused well. I did do a little bit of understitching here, but one of the cool things about this has a B, and C, D bust start. So whatever bust start, wherever bust you have, you can use has the front for that particular bust size. But what's so cool about this, there's no set-in sleeves at all. But they have a seam down the center of that sleeve, but underneath here, and you probably can't see it as well, there is a gusset that goes all the way underneath the arm. So this sleeve is in 2 pieces. I've never done a 2-piece sleeve like this. I've done lots of jackets with two parts to it, but not this. But I used to use gussets a lot, but not all the way. It was easy. It goes right in, and I think it goes all the way down the jacket.
Yes, it goes all the way down the jacket.
It is absolutely easy to make, and it looks really cool. And it is made shorter, and because I am short, I didn't have to do any altering on it. And so that made it really good.
Yes, and it goes from 0 to 20 in size.
And this is, I think I made mine a 12.
You made yours a 12. When I did mine, because I made one, unfortunately I didn't bring it, I made mine an 18 because I normally wear like a size 14 jacket, and I wear suit jackets every day. It was a little snug on my
But it's not
breast.
supposed to really, it's supposed to be open, so that's
So
good.
anyways, I did mine on 18 and it fit perfect. So, but yeah, it was really fun to make, and when I seamed mine together, all the lines just always matched up perfectly. So it was really super easy to make.
I think, does she have a video on that?
She did not have a video on this one.
I don't think so.
No, but I did go online. I went online on all of mine to see what I could find out. Yeah. But
I
wasn't,
didn't, but
there wasn't a video on this one. But it was really simple to make.
very simple. And those of you that are afraid to do sleeves, I mean, you don't have anything to,
you don't have to
you just
do the
have this,
circles.
there's your,
Go one line, up the other one. It was super easy to make.
super easy and fun.
And
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
And you can fold the thing can go up, or you can put it down.
Yeah.
Either or.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
The next we're going to talk about is our purse.
Our purse.
Right here.
Okay.
I have it all ready to go.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yep. Oh.
So, do you want to go first?
Nope, you go first because
okay.
you're going to show them how you make the...
Okay, I will. I can do that. Thank you. Okay, this was really, really a fun project. This is an Aunties 2 pattern. And I wasn't as good as Deanna was. I didn't go on the website and look. I just read the pattern. And the reason I did that is I was waiting for some parts to come so that I could make it. And then when I actually finished making it, I went on the website and I looked and I put it together okay. But the fun thing about this, when you do go on the website, be sure and put in, this is called the Aunties 2 Daytime Duffel. And they will have, I think, like 7 to 10 instructions on there.
Yeah, there's 7 to 10 instructions.
Yeah. And go step by step. Now, if you have a big TV, it's really beneficial if you can get it on your TV. This is not a YouTube deal. This is on her website. And if it can come up on a larger TV or your laptop, you can see it much better than on your phone. And then, and each step you could stop at it. And the cool thing about this is that it's all made flat. And then you sew the sides together and you get this great bag. Now I use this particular jelly roll, which is called Regal Rose. And in each jelly roll, you will have 2 of the same colors, just like we were saying about the little squares with the hummingbird. You're going to have 2 of the same color. So you'll have 2 of these colors, two of the green here. So I was able to make my inside the same as I made my outside. So that means that this is the same piece of fabric on both sides. Now, this was a very, very cool pattern to do. I'm going to go here, Chris. And you're going to use the NR Form Plus. Now, when NR Form Plus, is that okay? Or okay. When it says a plus, it means it is fusible on both sides. So you have to use an applique pressing sheet for this, else you will iron your bag to your ironing board, and it will not be fun. So you're going to have to remember that you have to put on your ironing board, you know, your applique pressing sheet. So the first that you are going to cut is a piece that is 2.5 inches, exactly the width of your jelly roll. And you're going to fuse those. Now this is okay, but I still should not have your pressing mat on your, do not have your pressing mat on your ironing board at this time, because you're going to press both the front side and the back side together. And this is the center strip that goes down the center of your bag. Then you're going to go to the sewing machine and you are going to take 2 more strips that match, and you're going to do a 1/4 inch seam along here. I came over to the ironing board and I pressed all of these seams this way, and then I pressed this one so that I have this really, really nice flat seam here. Now what I'm going to do, and this is where it really comes in handy to have your pressing mat on your table. I want this over here, and I'm going to take my 2-inch strip. This is now 2 inches. It is not 2.5, and that is because of your seam allowance here. So I'm going to put that here, fold it down, get it really, really nice and flat, get it real close to that seam allowance here so that it butts up right there. Iron this down. Now, you could see that if I didn't have my pressing sheet under here, this would be ironed to my ironing board, and that's where it's going to stay. So when that's, and you know, the best thing about any time you're using anything that is fusible, let it cool before you start moving it. There's glue. It's the glue that gets heated, and when that glue is cool, it moves and it can move. So let it, you know, just let it sit for a minute. We're impatient sometimes, but just have a little patience there. You'll appreciate it. Turn it over, and you're going to, this will be real snug here, and you're going to do the other side. You're only going to, I'm going to bring this back, Chris. You're only going to do 5 strips. You're going to do the center and then 2 on each side, and then you're going to stop. The reason that you're going to stop then is because they want you to stitch down each side of those seams. So I stitched about 3/8 of an inch wide on each side of these strips. And then you can, and the reason that you only wanted to go through 5 strips here is because that's what you can get underneath your sewing machine to make that nice center, to do that top stitching. Now you can add the rest. I think there's 5 other strips that go across. And then you're going to put your handles in. Now the handles are really clever. I didn't fold mine over, and Deanna's going to tell you how she folded hers over, and that's the way the instructions said. The reason I didn't is because I had 2 different colors, and I didn't want the side, I didn't want them to show green on that side. So that's why I did it that way. So I just did a top stitch down. And you're going to stitch those down on your bag. And this is still flat. This piece of fabric is still flat. And then you're going to put your zippers in when it's flat. The cool thing about the zipper is that, is that we have a zipper that has 2 poles on it. So they're going to stop here in the center. But when you put your zipper on and your binding on, you are going to bind it and put the zipper on at the same time. So when your zipper is all done, it's all bound. And we use this cute little glue stick. There it is. Bring it up. And you can put this glue stick. This is called Zoe's. Anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to put this end. You're going to put, you're going to put this end on a tube of glue. And you know that this glue is about a dime size on the end, and that's way too much glue to get onto, you know, try and put a zipper on. So you can take this and just run it down the zipper, and then where your binding is, you can run it down there. Now you can iron it at the same, you can touch the iron to it, and when you touch the iron to it, what it's going to do is it's going to dry the glue immediately, and you're going to be, it's going to stay right there in place. I did use a zipper foot when I put this on. Now, what I have a little trick about glue. I put a little Vaseline on the top of this before I put it back because I don't want it to dry out, and that keeps that from drying out. Now, so the zipper's on, and they box the corners very different than anything that I've ever done before, and it was very clever how to box the corners. You're going to actually cut this piece off. Now you also, when you put this bottom together, you're going to bind the bottom seam. So all of the seams on the inside of this bag are all are enclosed. There's no raw edges on this at all. So everything is nice and finished on the inside of the bag. And you're going to, you know, your bag is like this, and you have made a line that goes up to your zipper on all four parts. That line is not the line you're going to cut on. You're going to fold this like this, and you're going to cut this off. And when you cut this part off, it's magic. You get this end of your bag. And it comes out square. It is absolutely fantastic. Isn't that great? I mean, I've never done anything so cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to make.
And then I love to make bias tape. And so I made bias tape with a couple pieces of the jelly roll. And those are my pulls for my zipper. And I can't get my zipper. So they have a little pattern in there that you could do for zippers. And I didn't. We both put little pulls here that helps your zippers to close and open. And then we have this craft text. And this is craft text plus. So the plus means that it is fusible on both sides again. So we have to, you know, I put two of these together and made it about 5.5 by 9.5, put fabric on the outside, and that's the bottom of my bag. I did not bring that. It's the bottom of my bag, but then what I did with the fabric is I put Odie coat on it. So I could take that out of the bag, and then I can clean it because, you know, the bottom of our bags get kind of messy. Okay, and Deanna.
Okay.
Take it away.
So here's my bag. So I used the form in mine. I've made tons of bags. I work at the store here, and I've taught bag classes, and I love to make bags. I made mine out of just the fabric. I did not use the jelly roll, but you can use the jelly roll right here. Here, this jelly roll. And this zipper matches this jelly roll. If you look, this matches this perfectly. So if you want to make it out of the jelly roll, you can buy the zipper to match. I used the blue zipper because it matched my fabric. But I also put vinyl around my purse because it's white. And you know, when you wash a purse a few times, all the colors are going to go away. So I put vinyl on mine, so I just have to wipe it off and go. And if you ever use vinyl, you know how hard it is to sew on. You have to use a Teflon foot, but you also cannot seam rip vinyl. It will just leave little, you would have to redo your whole purse if you mess up one little piece. So I had to do this very carefully I did use that on my Bernina, and I just did it at the lowest one, and then I just quilted it all together. I did use this, so I did it together with the lining. I quilted it both with the lining together, and I used bright pink inside. So when I made mine, I did the fabric and the lining, and I quilted it together before I cut out the pattern. It made it much easier to do, and I did it on this, for my sides. On this one, I did the same thing. I did the lining and the binding, and I quilted it together with the vinyl, and then I cut it out to make it easier. The instructions on this bag is duffel bag was really easy to do. If you go on their website, there is 10 different little sections, and each little section you hit on will tell you how to do the zipper, how to make the handle. The handle is actually made out of this. You cut it in a 2-inch square, and then you then you have 2 inches on this, and then you sew them together, and then you pull them through, and it makes a big rope, and then you just I'm sorry, I'm a hands person.
And you can put tubing in this.
Yeah, you can put
You
tubing
can
in.
tubing in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you just sew it together, and then you sew it on your bag. Again, I did mine for Paris. Me and my mom went to Paris together, so I made this bag for her. But yeah, I used variegated thread that matched all my colors to give it some color. And like she said, I was going to show you, I left my corners in, but I stuffed it now. But I did leave my corners in to show people how to cut them out. But yeah, there's too much stuffing in there to show you anyways. But yeah, it was just a very easy, fun bag to make. And again, if you are a visual person like me, definitely go online to the website, Auntie's 2 website, and it's step-and-step instructions. And there's 3 different ways to make this bag. You can make it with a jelly roll, you can make it out of regular fabric, or you can also make it out of the 5-inch squares. And the 5-inch squares, each instruction will tell you how to make each bag out of each one. So like she was showing you how to make hers, there's instructions on there exactly how to make the jelly roll bag, how she made hers and how mine was made, and how to do the 5-inch square ones too also. And I did use the
Craft text.
craft text on the bottom. All you have to do is it's on both sides, it's fusible. So all you have to do is iron it on, and then you just make this one seam right here on the bottom, and that sews on the craft text. That's it, because it's fusible to your inside lining and the outside lining, so you don't have to worry about it coming up or down or anything. It's just fusible all in there, and you just make one seam at the very bottom to hold it together, and then you have your flat bottom. So yeah, it's very easy to make, and it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I've made tons of bags because I work at a store, and I teach the classes there, and I always use this. This is the best stuff to make bags with. It's the only thing I've ever used to make bags. And I also did my welcome sign with it too, because I just love this stuff. You can use this for anything. And also on the craft text, you can use it for this, but the craft text you always can use to make the baskets and the bowls, to make them look more sturdier instead of having things fall down. So if you are making a project that requires it to be a little bit stiffer, use the craft text, because it's going to make it a lot stiffer than just normal foam. But yeah. So,
Okay.
and
then I'm going to talk about our iron cleaner.
yeah, the iron cleaner's next. 'Cause when you get done,
Okay. So
on your iron.
how many things, okay, so how many items here today that we have used fusible? We use Steam-A-Seam in our hummingbirds. We use Steam-A-Seam in our welcome. And so Steam-A-Seam is such a unique product. It is sticky on both sides. So the reason, so when you're doing like your hummingbirds or you're doing your welcome and you're putting these stars down and the thing is, it's tacky enough to stay there until you iron it down. So if you need to reposition, like if you needed to reposition your hummingbirds, it's tacky enough that you could put it down, and if you walk back and you go, I don't like where that is, you could lift it up and move it, and so it's repositional. That is the advantage of Steam-A-Seam. Now, because it says Steam-A-Seam, that means you use steam in it or for it. And that means that the glue that they have manufactured on the back and the front of this is to use steam. There are other products that are just going to say dry iron, and you have to pay attention to that, because the glue will really stick if you use it the right way. Well, with all these things that we use, all this Steam-A-Seam and all this stuff, you could get it on your iron. This Iron Clean by Bo Nash is absolutely fantastic. Now, this is the sheet. This is a sheet that comes in. The cool thing about it is that you could take this sheet and fold it over can you see? Yeah, okay. I'll put that down. So this is the edge of your ironing board. Hang it down here, and then take your iron and run it down like that.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Someone was asking if you can use the By Annie Soft and Stable on your back.
You can, however, it will be a little harder because it is not fusible. And this Bozell is probably the only one that is like Annie's, but it is fusible on either one side or two-sided. And we use the plus, which is two-sided. So you can use it, but you might want to have to use a 505 spray or something like that.
When I've made purses that do not
Right.
have the fusible, this is the first time I used fusible on there, because the ones that I have bought before weren't fusible. I used the 505 spray, and it's really easy. You just spray the 505 on there, and then you put your fabric, and you kind of go like this with the fabric, and then just let it set. I've used it many times on the phones that do not have the fusible.
The 505 will stay on, will stick for a long time.
Yeah.
And so if you can't get back to the project right away, it'll stay there. But anyway, you'll take this iron and you're going to just run it like this. So you have this long sheet and just keep doing it until your iron, it'll take everything off of your iron. It's wonderful. We didn't talk about our cute little nippers here. These are by Kai scissors. These are ergonomically wonderful. Now, as you're quilting, I highly recommend that you cut your threads as you go. It's much easier to cut your threads. And this is rubber, and it's soft, easy, very, very sharp, easy to pick up, and just clip your threads real close. And that's Kai. Yeah, by Kai. And we've brought different ones in, but this happens to be my favorite because it's just ergonomically great. And I think we're going to talk about.
Anybody knows about Kai scissors? They are amazing scissors. All my scissors are Kai scissors.
Oh yeah, we
And
used
they
to
are.
think Ginger was the best until
Yep.
Kai
Yep,
came out.
Kai
Yep.
comes. Yes.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about my favorite is the sewing machine.
Okay.
I'll put that right there. Yeah. And this is the cutest thing. It's not Legos, but it makes like Legos. You just snap it together, just like Legos, and then it actually moves. Can you see it moving? Isn't that not the cutest? It took me about 2 hours to make mine. It does come with little teeny tiny pieces. So like on the top, there's these little black pieces, and I had to rush mine off the table real quick. So I lost one of the pieces, but I did have 2 sets at home. So I was able to pull the other black piece off my other set. So I had to use 2 bags to make one. But a lady that I was teaching the other day, she said to put it on thick tape and all the little pieces so they wouldn't fall apart.
That's smart.
So I know
That is smart.
that was a good tip. I was like, oh my gosh, if I would have done that, I would have never lost my piece. But yeah, the wide tape, just put all your small pieces on there, so when you need them, you're done.
Nice.
And to make this, it does come with instructions. But if you use a QR code, this right here. This is a
There
QR
is
code.
a QR code. Yeah.
This is the QR code with your phone. You snap a picture of it, and it will go directly to their website. It will tell you step-by-step instructions. And it's very important because the bottom of this has 5 different ones. And if you don't put them on there correctly, you have to start all over again, because these are the main parts to start the machine. So you definitely want to use the QR code, because it will tell you, if you blow up the picture a little bit, it will tell you exactly which pieces and how it's set up.
It's kind of important to blow up the picture.
Yes,
to
it
make
is.
it, to make it so that you can really see it. And I had never done Legos in my life other than step on them, because I had children, And Ann kept telling me, she goes, I'll send Henry and George over to help you with your Legos. But I managed to do it. But it is a really cool, cute little sewing machine. It's by Sally Tomato.
Yes, and again, it does show on the instructions. If you read it really closely, you can see it, but it's easier if you use the QR code.
Yes.
Especially if you, like me, and what do you want to say? Your eyeballs don't work properly when you get older, like me. So you always have to look at things bigger. And it was just a lot of fun to make. I'm going to keep mine at my desk at work, because I work here. So I'm going to put it on my desk.
And Andrea said hers took about an hour and a half
they
to
did.
do when she made hers. Mine took a little longer because I just did it in pieces and just left it on the table because I could. You know,
Yeah.
but it's very cute. I think, we have prizes, don't we? That
Yes,
we're
we
going to
do. We
give
have 2
away.
different
We have
prizes.
2 different.
You guys ready for prizes?
Yes, we are ready for prizes.
You're totally prepared.
Okay. Oh, you already have a winner?
Yeah, we have 2 winners.
Oh,
we have one from YouTube and one from Facebook. So,
Great.
Oh, woohoo.
all right, Deanna, would you like to call out which one is that? That must be YouTube. YouTube winner is gonna be right
Yep.
there.
YouTube is Cheryl Johnson. And where's she located at?
On YouTube.
Just YouTube. She won. I don't.
So Cheryl, if you're local, please let us know what your local store is, and we will send this to the store where you can pick it up. If you're out of town, please shoot me an email at andrea@qualitysewing.com and with your address and your phone number, and I will make sure to get that in the mail right to you. Charlotte, would you like
Okay,
to
yeah. So this
announce
is our,
Facebook
oh,
page?
Margie Barlett.
Orlette?
Yes, and is she local?
I don't know.
Okay, so what we're going to give, if you're not local, you need to contact Andrea at qualitysewing.com,
Yep,
and
yep.
she will get it to you. Either she'll mail it to you, or you can if you're local here, she'll give it to the store, send it to the store that you are
Closest to.
closest to, that is your
Yeah.
store.
Either
Okay.
way, shoot me an email and I'll get those to you.
Can we show her
Yeah,
what she's getting?
absolutely. You get the pattern called Woven Star Variations and
Cocopella
Cocopelli
celebrations. Yes.
very exciting.
And this is really cool.
Really,
They're both
really
cool.
fun.
They're both cool.
Really fun.
Okay.
So thank you everyone for tuning in today. We are so grateful you are here. Don't forget, all of these fun notions will be online until next Thursday. Thank you, and
Thank
we hope
you.
to see
Thank
you
you.
next month.
Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Bye.